Home Depot actually uses their microblog on Twitter as a customer service channel. So Twitter's been in the news a lot, and we do have a separate webinar all about Twitter, because we could talk about that for certainly an hour and probably longer. But Twitter is basically a microblogging service, and it just lets companies and individuals post short status updates and links. So you can, if you have a blog, you can post updates that drive people back to your blog. You can post updates that say, we've got our new product, come check it out. And the important thing, whether it's blogging or microblogging, is you really do want to engage with the channel. So people will comment on what you're saying in your blogs, or they'll reply to you on Twitter, or talk about what you're doing on Twitter, and you want to make sure that you're aware of what people are saying and that you're responding to them. And social networks, another thing that people have been talking a lot about lately, and trying to figure out exactly how brands can use them and be relevant. So Facebook and MySpace are the biggest examples of these, but there are tons that get very, very granular. You can by race or by interest. And the social networks are a place where you can almost look at it as if it were another email channel. A lot of people use them use the social networks as a substitute for their email channel or an adjunct to their email channel. And so it's a place where you can create a branded page or group for people to get information about your company, engage with your company, and then they can sign up to get updates from you through Facebook. So it's just another place where you can push out content and let people engage with your content and your brand. And then if you're using things like gadgets and widgets, it's another place where you can post those things, make them available to your shoppers, and then they can go share them with their friends, add them to their pages, and it helps your content get broader distribution. Another type of social media marketing is video and photo marketing. So using places like YouTube and Vimeo, if you're creating videos or if you can create videos, to push out content, engage with other people's content. You can use those sites to actually serve video that you embed on your own site, so they can serve as a video hosting service for you. And that also helps your videos get broader distribution because they have built-in share tools and things like that. And you'll see companies also using Flickr, which is a pretty popular photo site, to drive interest around their products and to create more of a community feel around their products. So one example is Urban Outfitters sells a camera that's sort of has a cult following. It's called a Holga, and it takes a very specific looking kind of picture. And they've actually created a Flickr group around pictures taken with that camera, and also pictures of Urban Outfitters products. And so they have not only pictures that they've taken, but then pictures that their customers are taking and are participating in that community group on Flickr by posting their photos. So then their friends see what they're doing interacting with Urban Outfitters, and it drives more views and more engagement for Urban Outfitters. And then we also have an example here of Jeep, which is using Facebook, just like we talked about a little bit earlier, just to share their content with enthusiasts. So you can see they've got a listing of their new cars. You can compare the cars. You can see their gas mileage. You can comment, and they have a huge number of fans on this page, and people just leave comments like, I love my Jeep, and they've got this big enthusiast community, and it really just helps them drive it and be available to their supporters. And now we're going to talk about website technologies, and these are things that you can actually do on your own site. So they're not paid or they're not on other sites, they're on your own site, that help drive traffic back to your site and make your site a little bit friendlier for search engines. So you'll come up higher in natural search rankings, and then also you'll help increase the shareability of your site. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is social bookmarking and sharing. So these are tools on your site that let your customers share content very easily with their friends. So at a minimum, things like forward to a friend, a button on a product page or a content page that lets someone just enter their email, enter their friend's email, and share it. You can also do things like share on Facebook, share this on a social bookmarking site like Dig and BuzzUp that lets people follow what their friends are bookmarking. You can have things like ratings and reviews, and this is something else that we have a separate webinar on later on, but allowing people to rate and potentially review your products, and that not only gives people confidence in buying the products when they see that other people are talking about them, validating their decision, providing feedback, it also helps, again, with your natural search engine rankings. And then doing things like integrated forums, so having chat rooms if you do have a product that's more complex, might be hardware or tools, something where people might have questions about how to use it or how to apply specific technology to what they're doing. You can have forums where your team moderates questions, but people can also, enthusiasts or people who want to be experts in your space, will come on and will help other customers. So it's just a place where they can come for centralized information. And then RSS feeds. If you have a blog, if you have a set of press releases, or even you can set up RSS feeds on new products as they roll out. This lets people subscribe to that so they can get notifications in email or in an RSS reader if they're using one of those, to know when there's new content on your site, something that's worth coming back for. Next, we have personalization. So if you can roll out personalization on your own site, that again helps people keep coming back. It makes the site a little bit stickier and makes their experience more relevant to them each time. So if you personalize the site based on their interests or what they're doing on the site or how they're shopping the site. So if you know that this is someone who, if you have a hardware site and you know that this is someone who always shops woodworking tools, for example, when they come back to the site, you want to make sure that you present them with the latest in woodworking and give them something that will interest them right off the bat. Next, we have dynamic search. So that is a tool that really lets your search functionality be a little bit more engaging and helpful to the user. So instead of just having enter a keyword, show the results for it, you can actually set up search so that someone can enter a keyword, show the results, and then filter those results in an intelligent way based on your product. So if you have an apparel site, for example, you might have someone who searches for pants, and then they can filter those results by color, by size, by type of fabric used in the pants. And you can really let people filter through those results, and you actually will see a lift in conversions of up to 40% from those types of search results. Next is syndicated content, which is similar to, which is the RSS feeds, but it's really just creating dedicated RSS feeds that let you syndicate your content out to other sites. So letting people subscribe to that content and having a team that can push content out on a regular basis so that you keep people reading that content and coming back. And then last, SEO, search engine optimization. I've mentioned that a lot throughout this webinar, and that's actually something that you can really develop a whole strategy and a whole set of tactics around. And really, it's about creating relevant content and current content on a continuous basis on your site. So when you're talking about SEO, you really want to take the long view. It's not something that you set up and then you're done. It's really an ongoing process, but it's about making your site current and relevant and readable by the search engines. And there are things that you can do sort of on a one-off basis to jumpstart that, like making your URLs human readable and search friendly and doing some things like that. So next, just to talk about mobile really quickly, we have things like text messaging campaigns. As more and more people adopt smartphones and web-enabled phones, more and more people are engaging with brand content on their phones. So you can do text messaging campaigns that cover incoming text messages, so signing up for contests, answering polls on their mobile phone, signing up for sale alerts, and then contests that are outgoing, so actually sending promo alerts to people whose phone numbers you have or sending the latest news. So right here we have an example from the NBA, a one-on-one tournament they did, and you could actually watch videos, vote on the videos, and then win prizes. And they let you vote just by texting in. You could text play to T1-on-1 to vote on your favorite video. So you could watch the video on your web-enabled mobile phone and then text in to vote. And another example of a company who uses this is Target actually sends out promotions when they have an exclusive line with one of their limited time designers, and they say, this is in stores and on our website now, go check it out. And so they create a sense of urgency around that by sending it to people's mobile phones. And so now just to talk briefly about why this is important and why you may want to engage in a new media marketing strategy. So total traffic online is increasing, and as many of you I'm sure know from what's going on with your website. But media spending is still out of sync with that growth. So in a typical week, this is a study that North American Graphics did in 2007, so this continues to change. But right now, the percentage of ad spend for internet time is only at 8%, but people spend 29% of their time online. These people, media advertisers are overspending in newspapers, so they're spending about 20% of the budget there, but people are only spending 8% of their time, and probably this year it's even less. And the other point to make here about new media is that customers are constantly changing. So you see here that even in 2008, so this shows from the beginning of 2008 to the end of 2008, it started where Google was pretty much still at the top, Facebook was coming up, YouTube was coming up, and you see here actually YouTube just took a huge spike and is now getting more traffic than Google and Facebook combined. So that just shows a trend in how people are using it and how many more people have broadband access and what people are doing online.
Muted.
And here we see online sales growth. So as many of you know, percentage of sales of e-commerce stores to brick-and-mortar stores is going to continue to increase, and total U.S. online sales, again, is going to be something that continues to increase up to 10% in 2011. And here, this just gives you an overview of what we just talked through, but the marketing toolkit today, this is actually, I would say, the marketing toolkit of a few years ago, where people were thinking more about television, radio, magazine, newspapers, and using tactics like coupons and promos, and looking at metrics like reach and frequency. And now those are still relevant, but they're a piece of a bigger pie, and now people need to think about websites, online advertising, email, blogs, all of what we just talked through, using technology like personalization and site merchandising, and those become your tactics. The technology becomes the tactics that you use, and including metrics like conversion rates and cost per sale, because one of the great things about new media marketing is that it is all trackable. So here's an example of a company that's really pulling all of this together very well. We talked about Nike and search, and now here we can look at how they're pulling all of these different pieces together and how they tie together. So here's their, right in the center, you see their e-commerce store, and this is a page from their Nike women's site. And you see they have a fitness and soccer focus. Starting in the top left corner, you look at their Facebook page, and they actually have the same shorts that are featured on the e-commerce page. So they're featured in both places. In their email, you see many of the same products featured in the email that are featured on the homepage of the e-commerce store. They're doing blog outreach of women who are high school and college soccer players. So they're using these products. They're talking about these products and writing blogs for Nike. We looked at their search, and so when you search for any of these products, Nike makes sure that they come up first in the search results. They're partnering with companies like Apple to create technology that fits with their product and fits with their brand, and again drives people back to their products and back to their site. So the technology that they developed is an iPod app that actually lets people track their mileage, and it has a website component, so they're continuing to drive people back to that site to complete purchases. And they also have a separation from their e-commerce content to their brand site, but they do tie it together. So you see even here, they've got some of the same products on the brand site. Down in the lower right-hand corner, they have that blogger that we looked at from up in the right. They've got her featured on the brand site. So they're bringing that content back together. And then lastly, in the bottom left-hand corner, They have built out a YouTube channel around their women's category. They have ads. They let people comment on the videos and rate them and share them. So it's another place where they can really build that community and engage their customers. And with that, I will turn it back over to Teresa.
Okay, Sarah. So